Today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry. The president must be held accountable. No one is above the law.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi saying that everything was completely changed after President Trump came out and admitted that he did indeed in some form speak with and potentially pressure the Ukrainian president to investigate Joe Biden.
This isn't relitigating the past. This isn't relitigating the election with Hillary Clinton. This is about the president abusing his office in seeking political dirt about an election that's upcoming.
I think you have more people on the side of saying politics be damned here for a moment. There may be a real moral call that there's a constitutional responsibility here to hold the president accountable.
That call was perfect. It couldn't have been nicer. What Joe Biden did for his son, that's something they should be looking at.
This is a 5-page transcript. It appears to be a nearly complete transcript of the July call where President Trump asked Ukrainian President Zelensky several times to collaborate with Attorney General Barr and his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to look into Biden and his son Hunter. Now, he doesn't specifically mention military aid, but says the U.S. has been, quote, very, very good to Ukraine. So not an explicit quid pro quo, but the president was clearly teeing up his requests to Ukraine.
Impeachment for that?
From my point of view, to impeach any president over a phone call like this would be insane.
The American people are going to view this and roll their eyes because it's going to sound to them like much of the same thing they've been hearing for the last 3 years.
So what's the process? How does impeachment work? Well, the investigation is going to go forward, and if the people in charge of the House of Representatives, the Democrats, think that there is enough to go forward with impeachment, the House Judiciary Committee will consider what's called articles of impeachment, which are specific charges. And if they vote articles of impeachment, then the full House of Representatives will vote on whether Donald Trump will be impeached. Now, if there is a majority in support of impeachment, Donald Trump doesn't lose his office. That's like a formal charge. It's like an indictment. So if Donald Trump is indicted the way Bill Clinton was impeached, then the case will go to the United States Senate. It takes 2/3, 67 votes in the Senate, to remove a president from office. I think everyone believes it's very unlikely in a Republican-controlled Senate.
Impeaching Trump could epically backfire on Democrats heading into the 2020 election cycle. They've got plenty of races to focus on winning instead of trying to undo a race that they, sorry Democrats, already lost. It would, simply put, turn Trump into a victim, a place he loves to be. Impeaching Trump in the House without a real chance of the Senate following suit hands the president the ability to say that Democrats hate him so much that they are unfairly targeting him and ignoring their responsibilities to the country.
It was several things. It was quite loud.
David Holmes describió una llamada entre el presidente Donald Trump y el embajador ante la Unión Europea, Gordon Sondland, el día después de que le pidiera al presidente de Ucrania que investigara a un rival político.
Y continuó diciendo que el presidente Zelensky, y cito aquí, te ama hasta él. Luego escuché al presidente preguntar, ¿y entonces él hará la investigación? El embajador Sondland respondió, él lo va a hacer, añadiendo que el presidente Zelensky hará cualquier cosa que usted le pida.
Y que desde marzo vio un cambio en las prioridades de Estados Unidos hacia Ucrania, eclipsadas por la agenda que impulsaba Rudy Giuliani, el abogado personal de Trump. Holmes revivió la conversación que tuvo con el embajador Sondland después de la llamada que escuchó.
Entonces, aproveché la oportunidad para preguntarle al embajador Sondland sobre su opinión más franca acerca de la visión del presidente sobre Ucrania. En particular, le pregunté al embajador Sondland si era cierto que le importaba poco, en términos vulgares, Ucrania. El embajador Sondland afirmó que le importaba poco, en términos vulgares, Ucrania, y le pregunté, ¿por qué no? El embajador Sondland dijo que al presidente solo le importan los asuntos grandes. Yo dije que hay asuntos grandes sucediendo en Ucrania, como la guerra con Rusia. El embajador Sondland respondió que él se refería a asuntos grandes que benefician al presidente, como la investigación de Biden que el señor Giuliani estaba buscando.
Fiona Hill salió de la Casa Blanca antes de la llamada Trump-Zelensky el 25 de julio, pero participó en la reunión con los ucranianos el 10 de julio, en la que, según ella, el embajador Sondland dijo que había acordado con el secretario general de la presidencia, Mick Mulvaney, una reunión Trump-Zelensky si se adelantaba a las investigaciones. Según Hill, su jefe, John Bolton, entonces asesor de seguridad nacional, terminó la reunión y le pidió que reportara lo que ella consideraba erróneo.
La instrucción específica fue que yo debía buscar a los abogados, a John Eisenberg, el consejero jurídico del Consejo Nacional de Seguridad, para básicamente decir, dile a Eisenberg, me dijo el embajador Bolton, que yo no soy parte de esto, este negocio de drogas que Mulvaney y Sondland están cocinando.
¿Qué creyó que él quiso decir con el negocio de drogas que Mulvaney y Sondland estaban tramando?
Yo lo entendí como investigaciones a cambio de una reunión.
Hill también fustigó a los republicanos por apoyar teorías ficticias sobre injerencia de Ucrania en las elecciones de Estados Unidos en 2016.
Me rehúso a ser parte de un intento por legitimar una narrativa alterna de que el gobierno de Ucrania es un adversario de Estados Unidos y de que Ucrania, no Rusia, nos atacó en 2016. Esta ficción es peligrosa, aun si se usa para propósitos puramente de política interna.
Los republicanos le respondieron.
No es necesario decir que es completamente posible que dos naciones distintas interfieran en las elecciones al mismo tiempo y que los republicanos pensemos que deberíamos tomar seriamente la injerencia en las elecciones de todos los países, independiente de cuál campaña sea el blanco.
Dos testimonios con los que se cierra el ciclo de audiencias públicas por ahora.
Well, just days after giving what has been described as a car crash interview on television, during which Prince Andrew tried to explain the nature of his former relationship with the late financier Jeffrey Epstein, the Prince said on Wednesday in a statement that he would be stepping down from royal duties for the foreseeable future, having obtained his mother, the Queen's, permission to make this decision. Well, just as Buckingham Palace was issuing one statement on behalf of Prince Andrew, the Queen was actually delivering a speech not far from Buckingham Palace, during which she did not refer to the statement and also did not refer to the controversy that has engulfed the royal family since the course of the weekend. Well, in his statement, Prince Andrew makes clear the impact this has had both on his work and also on his family as well. It has become clear to me, he says in the statement, over the last few days that the circumstances relating to my former association with Jeffrey Epstein has become a major disruption to my family's work and the valuable work going on in many of the organisations and charities that I am proud to support. Well, the Prince every year manages to attract the creme de la creme of the British business establishment to an event that he hosts at the Palace called Pitch at the Palace, one which CNN, including many other news organisations, have filmed and had the chance to talk to him about over the course of the years, including myself. But many of those businesses recently, after this firestorm of criticism following this interview, have been trying to distance themselves from the Prince, including big international accountancy and consultancy firms and some charitable and cultural organisations as well. In the statement, Prince Andrew goes on to talk about the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. I continue to unequivocally regret my ill-judged association with Jeffrey Epstein, he says. His suicide has left many unanswered questions, particularly for his victims, and I deeply sympathise with everyone who has been affected and wants some form of closure. The Prince goes on to say, I am willing to help any appropriate law enforcement agency with their investigations if required. Nina Dos Santos, CNN, London.
I became aware that Mr. Giuliani, a private lawyer, was taking a direct role in Ukrainian diplomacy.
And I worried about what I had heard concerning the role of Rudy Giuliani, who had made several controversial statements about Ukraine and U.S. policy toward the country.
I believe that the messages being conveyed by Mr. Giuliani were a problem.
My recollection is that Ambassador Sondland stated, quote, "Damn it, Rudy. Every time Rudy gets involved, he goes and F's everything up."
Over the course of 2018 and 2019, I became increasingly aware of an effort by Rudy Giuliani and others, including his associates Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman, to run a campaign to smear Ambassador Yovanovitch and other officials at the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv.
Although we disagreed with the need to involve Mr. Giuliani, at the time we did not believe that his role was improper. As I previously testified, if I had known of all of Mr. Giuliani's dealings or his associations with individuals, some of whom are now under criminal indictment, I personally would not have acquiesced to his participation.
I do not understand Mr. Giuliani's motives for attacking me, nor can I offer an opinion on whether he believed the allegations he spread about me. Clearly, no one at the State Department did. What I can say is that Mr. Giuliani should have known those claims were suspect, coming as they reportedly did from individuals with questionable motives and with reason to believe that their political and financial ambitions would be stymied by our anti-corruption policy in Ukraine.
We saw them often, or saw him often on television making these statements. And I had already brought to Ambassador Bolton's attention the attacks, the smear campaign against Ambassador Yovanovitch, and expressed great regret about how this was unfolding and, in fact, the shameful way in which Ambassador Yovanovitch was being smeared and attacked. And I'd asked if there was anything that we could do about it. And Ambassador Bolton had looked pained, basically indicated with body language that there was nothing much that we could do about it. And he then, in the course of that discussion, said that Rudy Giuliani was a hand grenade that was going to blow everyone up.
Is it normal for a private citizen, a non-U.S. government official, to get involved in foreign policy and foreign affairs like Mr. Giuliani?
I don't know if I have the experience to say that, but it certainly wasn't helpful, and it didn't help advance U.S. national security interests.
It is not unusual to ask for people outside the government to give opinions to help form the policies of the U.S. government. It is unusual to have a person put input into the channel that goes contrary to U.S. policy.
Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and I worked with Mr. Rudy Giuliani on Ukraine matters at the express direction of the President of the United States. We did not want to work with Mr. Giuliani. Simply put, we were playing the hand we were dealt. Mr. Giuliani's requests were a quid pro quo for arranging a White House visit for President Zelensky. Mr. Giuliani demanded that Ukraine make a public statement announcing the investigations of the 2016 election, DNC server, and Burisma. Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew these investigations were important to the President.